Mayor Heartwell, thank you for joining us today, sir.
Jonathan, thank you. It's an honor to be here with you.
Appreciate you coming in today, sir. The Hot Spot and the Fearless Brother production has put together this series in order to kind of educate citizens and young people about the politicians, the people we've elected into office who represent us, in order for people to understand where they're coming from, the initiatives that they support, and so forth. So I kind of want to begin today by asking you to give some background. Tell us a little bit about where you grew up, how you grew up, and what made you want to take the helm of our great city.
Well, thanks. That's a great question to start with, but let me even before that say how important I think this production is as a way to reach out, especially to younger people in Grand Rapids. If there's anything that I hear too often, it's that the younger people feel alienated from the process, from the political process. So this is great for me to have an opportunity to talk and respond to your questions and talk about the things that matter to me in Grand Rapids, and in the process, hopefully educate a lot of younger people who may not know anything about me or about my office. I've lived, well, let's see, 51 of my 60 years right here in Grand Rapids. We spent a little time in Detroit when my wife and I were first married, and then moved to Traverse City for 5 years, but came back to Grand Rapids in 1976. I came back as a businessman, mortgage banking business. Our family had a company, Heartwell Mortgage Corporation, and I joined my father in the business, took over when he retired. And then I left. I sold my interest in the business in 1985 and went back to school as a 36-year-old with 3 children at home, and I went back to theological seminary. Got a degree in divinity and was and still am an ordained minister. My passion for ministry really was to work with the poor, and so my first 14 years as an ordained minister were spent at an organization here in Grand Rapids called Heartside Ministry, working with our homeless community, and we had a worshiping community of low-income homeless people, but it was we also provided services. There were some residential recuperation services, educational services, computer training services, a free health clinic that we opened, a job training program that we opened. It's all important things for this community. I left that well, let me one little interim piece.
Sure.
Because while I was at Heartside Ministry, I also ran for the Grand Rapids City Commission. I found myself regularly in front of the commission, pounding on the podium and demanding justice for the poor and the homeless of Grand Rapids, and frustrated that those commissioners and that mayor weren't doing anything about it. So I ran and was elected to serve the 3rd Ward. Served 2 terms, 3rd Ward, southeast side of Grand Rapids, your home, and I left the commission in 2000 to go, and the same year I left Heartside Ministry. Went to Aquinas College where I taught for 6 years as in the Community Leadership Institute and a Community Leadership major. And then I came, when the office of mayor became available in the year 2004, I ran successfully and have run once since for re-election. So I'm in my 7th year right now. Mayor is a part-time position in Grand Rapids, so the other thing that I do is I'm the CEO of a retirement community, Pilgrim Manor, which is my denomination's retirement home for the elderly.
Mayor, in tough economic times like these, I was actually at your State of the City address. You talked about the consolidation of services between Grand Rapids and some of its outer-lying areas. I guess I kind of wanted to know where your vision would take Grand Rapids if this consolidation were able to take place, because there's an interesting dynamic, and the city could vastly change and become a larger, much more widely known and acknowledged metropolitan area. Could you elaborate
Sure.
a little bit about those ideas? Because I think a lot of people were excited by the prospect, especially young people. but there's, I think, kind of still a gray area, a clouded area, you know what I mean, as far as the understanding of what you were alluding to.
Sure. Well, let me say that for years, decades now, Grand Rapids and the surrounding suburban communities of Wyoming and Kentwood, East Grand Rapids, Walker, and Granville have been working together on shared services. So there's a number of things we do together, everything from police and fire to biosolids that we do in cooperation with one another. We 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago now, we announced the formation of a brand new partnership with the city of Wyoming for police, fire, emergency dispatch operations, and it saves us, the two cities, $2 million a year, $1.6 million for Grand Rapids, $400,000 it saves Wyoming. So those are cost-effective things to do. They're also I think service efficiency measures. So we're delivering a better service at a lower cost by doing it in partnership. The natural next step beyond that is to begin, as we look at the kind of cooperation that we're enjoying, is to say, why do we even need 6 cities?
Right.
Why can't we combine these cities into one city under one government with one fire authority and one police authority for the entire district? If we were to do that, it would take Grand Rapids, if we could make a new city that was county-wide, it would be the 23rd largest city in the country. We're currently, Grand Rapids is the 114th largest city in the country, and it would catapult us, and so you say, well, why is that important? Well, it's important because you get political representation in Washington and in Lansing for a larger area. You get, you come up on the radar screen of companies that are looking to locate in either new ventures that they're going to open up. And so it's, by and large, I say it's a positive thing. I will use this as the first opportunity that I've had publicly to talk about one of the negatives. And I had the experience years and years ago when I was serving on the National Urban League board. I met the executive of the Urban League of Indianapolis. Now, Indianapolis is sort of the grandfather of consolidated governments. 31 years ago, they consolidated into a single government that was countywide in Marion County, Indiana. The exec of the Urban League in Indianapolis said it was the worst thing that could have happened to African Americans, because in the city, we had a population base that gave us political clout.
Sure.
When the city included all that suburban area, it diluted our representation, and we lost some political power, in effect. So I recognize that it's not all positive, but I think by and large, and knowing how, in this area, how we tend to work together and work pretty innovatively and collaboratively, I think it's something we need to be looking at now.
Absolutely. Thank you for clarifying that, sir.